Hey guys, welcome to this backbend class. My name is Jess. I'm going to be guiding you through these exercises. Today we're going to be focusing on bridges and transitions around and into bridges. I want you to make sure that you've warmed up your hips and opened them up nicely before this class. It's really important for your back bends that your hips are open and that your glutes are nice and conditioned. We'll do a few glute exercises, but not enough for you to consistently be pressing through your hips. So just make sure that you have activated those glutes nicely and that you are open in your hip flexors. Your hip flexors are a big part of your back bend because the more that you can push through them, the more you can access all parts of your back evenly. So really, really important that you do that. Please do not underestimate how much you need to use your hips in your back bend. I've already warmed mine up, so I'm trusting that you are going to do the same. This class has modifications for all levels. Obviously, everyone is going to be different, so just modify as best you can and mind your own limits as you go through it. If you need to take extra breaks or if you need to counter stretch your muscles, that's perfectly fine. Just listen to your body and do the best that you can. All right, cool. So, having already warmed up my hips, I'm going to go into just a core activation exercise, and then we'll go into back bend, shoulder openers, upper back openers, and eventually bridges. Follow along as best you can. All right, so for our core exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to lie down on our backs. We're going to lift our legs up to the ceiling, hopefully keeping them nice and straight if your hamstrings are flexible enough, right? But if you need to, you can slightly bend them. That's perfectly fine. Two options here. An easier version is keeping your body down like this, right? A harder version is taking one hand above the other and using your abs, not your arms, to lift up and look between the legs. Then we're going to drop the legs down for 20. We go 20, 19, controlling through these abs. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. Good. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good, well done, amazing, good. Again, if you want to do some more core, low core exercises, now is the time. All right, so next exercise can feel a little bit strange. We're going to use two yoga blocks. It's really, really great for firing that posterior chain, i.e. the back of your body nicely, and those glutes. No bands, but two blocks stacked or placed like so on your mat. If you find that this position really hurts your pubic bone or this area, then you can absolutely pad on top of your blocks, or you can do it flat on the mat. But if you're capable of doing it on the blocks, I'd highly recommend it because the blocks add an extra element of instability that are going to work your stabilizing muscles. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to lie on these blocks like so. And you may have to reposition yourself based on your body, right? And what's really important before you start this exercise and every time you do it is that you pull these low core muscles into your spine. So you're sucking your belly button up into your spine to activate in that lower area. This is more about your lower body than it is about your upper body. So just remember that when you're lifting your legs, okay? So tummy is pulled in. We reach the arms out and up, right? And then we're going to straighten the legs and we're going to squeeze into those glutes too. Lift the legs up. You're going to hold here for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, breathe, 6, legs, 5, knees are straight, 4, 3, tummy in, 2, 1, and lower down. Take a nice deep breath. We're going to do it again twice more. All right, tummy pulls in, arms reach out, look between your hands, pull the tummy in and lift for 10. 9, if you're wobbling, it's very normal. Try stabilize. 6, 5, 4, tummy 3, legs 2, 1, and down. Beautiful, breathe. Good. And one more time. We're going to reach those arms out. Pull the tummy in, squeeze the legs straight, and lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, lower body. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Amazing. Take a little break. Breathe, grab a sip of water, whatever you need to do. We're still going to use the blocks. This one gets a little more intense on that pubic bone area. So again, if you need to pad or maybe move off the blocks, it's fine, but blocks are recommended. Stay with me as best you can. We're lying down. This time, your forearms are going to be down, right, on the floor. I want you to make sure that you're not just staring at the ground here. Look up and forward, lift out of your shoulders, right? You need to straighten through the knees and pull that lower belly into your spine again. There should be lots of support coming from here, right? And then you're going to lift the legs 10 times, pulse at the top 10 times, and hold for 10. It gets a bit burny in your glutes. Do the best that you can. All right, following along like so. We lift 10, down, 9, tummy in, 8, knees are straight, 7, 6, nice, 5, and 4, last, 3, good, 2, and hold it up, 1, little tiny pulses, 10, not too jerky, 8, 7, 6, 5, breathe, 4, 3, 2, hold, 9, 8, 7, if you're shaking it's normal, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Amazing, good. Well done. Push back, really, really good. Move those blocks away. That was great, guys. Cool. Really good. So obviously for bridges, the shoulders are super involved, the lats are super involved, and your upper back needs to be involved, so your lower back is not doing all of the work. So we're going to open up that upper back and those shoulders with this next exercise. You're going to need a wall for the exercise. Make sure that whatever you are using, if not a wall, a door or a cupboard, that it's really nice and secure. Okay, so standing up, going to your wall, really simply just extending your arms out in front of you, keeping the hands shoulder distance apart. So not too wide, nice and narrow. Right? You're going to place those hands against the wall, nice and low, probably in line with your belly button about, hips back, and you're going to stretch, pressing down towards the floor with your shoulder blades. Keeping the arms nice and straight. It's really common here to bend into the arms. Don't do that. Squeeze the elbows straight. Lift the shoulders to the ears and press down and hold, relaxing the head for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, good. 6, 5, 4, 3, sink, 2, 1, good. Then I want you to round up into your lats so you get a nice stretch here into these muscles under your shoulders, under your armpits. And then use those muscles to drive down to the floor. And again, rounding up and driving down, trying to find activation into those muscles. Again, rounding up. And one more time, driving down. Good. And coming out. Amazing, good. And just roll those shoulders out, really good. You're welcome to do that for longer if you need your shoulders to open up a little bit more. Good work. Okay, that should have not completely passively, but a little more passively opened up your shoulders. If you know any other shoulder openers, you're welcome to incorporate them here before we move on into our upper back exercises. All right, for the next ones, you're gonna need a nice resistance band. You can also use a mini band like this because it's a little less irritating, but it's not 100% necessary, right? These are really good to use to help you access the activation into your lats. And your lats are really important because they help you push into your upper back. They are the driving force of your upper back, and the more we can condition them, the better that upper back is going to become. So using a band and pulling out in the way that we are going to is going to help you find that activation nicely. Okay, so I'm going to use this mini band, but again, you can use a TheraBand if you need to. Okay, to explain first, when you use the band above your head, you're going to have the arms lifted, shoulders to ears, and you're going to pull slightly out with this band. I don't want your hands to be super wide like this. It's going to make it really, really hard to get into your lats. So you need to have your hands nice and narrow. Make sure when you're pulling, they remain narrow and lifted. All right? That's for later, but you'll understand when we get there. Okay, so first things first, make sure your knees are nice and padded. I want you to get into a nice froggy position like this. However, if this is really uncomfortable for you, then you can modify as follows. Block underneath you to make it more comfortable, bringing the legs in a little bit narrower, or completely bringing the legs together to this position. If you're capable of it, it's nice to do it in a froggy position because it really helps you get into your pelvis, which will in turn help you get into your upper back, right? However, again, if you're feeling tight there, not a stress. This is a nice way to stretch your middle splits though without stretching your middle splits. Okay, so we're in whichever position we choose. The band can be here, for later, but not quite yet, right? And we're going to have our hands or our fingers on the inside of our legs in line with our knees, right? So you want to tilt the pelvis forward, right? So I'm sticking my glutes up to the ceiling here. And what you want to do is extend your neck back first and then your shoulders. There are two ways that you can extend through your neck. They are as follows. You can either drive your neck forward, up, and back, like you're lifting up and over, or you can tuck your chin in, kind of creating like a double chin, and then use the sides of your neck to extend back. Either one is perfectly fine. Experiment a bit and see which one suits you, right? Okay, so tilting the pelvis, pulling the tummy into your spine, so you've got some nice support here. You're going to take your neck into extension however you want, then you're going to roll the shoulders in a complete circle, right? So it's neck, shoulders, rib cage forward, all the way back, squeezing with the glutes to press forward. Make sure this rib cage stays down, right? Press into that upper back, pull your elbows back, and squeeze and breathe. Good. And then coming out. Good. We're going to do it again. You can do it as many times as you want, depending on how your upper back is feeling. It's very active. You might feel your mid-back quite a lot. All right? And you can open up wider if you're feeling warm. Fingertips down. You drive forward, up, and back. Shoulders open to open the chest. Elbows squeeze in. You're pulling those abs in to get deeper into your upper back. And you're keeping the rib cage forward. Breathing. And then coming out. Good. Nice. All right, and we're going to progress. But if you want to do it just on this level, you can absolutely stay there. The progression uses the band. Again, that band is going to stay nice and narrow, right? So we go into it exactly the same, and you don't have to rush it. You go forward, up, back, shoulders, elbows squeeze in towards each other. Check your abs. I like to touch mine to check that they're sucking in, right? Get into the upper back, use the glutes. Then grab your band narrow, pull it apart, and pull the elbows back to have the band above your forehead, right? Then from here, you're going to try pulse those elbows back, right? Using the glutes, using the rib cage to press back a couple times. And if you're feeling warm, you can extend out the lats and back into a straight arm position. From here, squeeze the neck back, arms back, neck back, arms back, neck, arms. And then slowly coming out of it. Good. Nice. All right, it can feel very intense on your hips, so take a break in between if you need to. Right? It's just a really active exercise, making sure that we have lots of activity happening in those upper back muscles before we move on to lower back and mid back stuff. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. There is another route through the exercise that I'm going to give you as an option. You don't have to do this one. You can do the previous one if you prefer it, or you can experiment with it a bit. And again, if you want to repeat the exercise, just pause the video or go back and do it again to get a nice, juicy upper back activation for your back bend experience. All right, so getting into whichever position you preferred here. Going forward, up, and back. And then when you grab the band, you can this time extend the arms up, shoulders to ears, and then take the neck and the arms back as far as you can instead of bending, right? And then you can do some pulses. About 10, right? And then slowly coming out. Good. Really nice, guys. Awesome. Nice. Coming out of that, grab a sip of water if you need to. Make sure you're breathing throughout these exercises, and take breaks as you need. Really, really good. We're going to progress a little bit more. So, really importantly, we want to make sure that the low core is also working with us throughout our bridge and back bend experience, which this next exercise is going to highlight quite a lot. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to open our knees nice and wide, like so. We're going to make sure, now that our hips are nice and open because we've warmed them up, and our glutes are nice and fired because we've warmed those up too, that we're going to drive our hips forward over our knees as much as possible. The legs are quite wide here. It makes it a little bit easier, right, like so, and they're slightly turned out. It's not going to turn your hips out, so it's perfectly fine if that is the case, right? If you have your legs really narrow, it's going to make it quite hard on your spine, and it's going to compress quite a lot. So rather keep them wide when working this. There are progressions. I'm going to take you through them. You're going to do the best you can, and if you need to stay on an easier level, that's perfectly fine. Rather find the correct activation and support first before progressing, instead of progressing too soon and doing something incorrectly and potentially hurting yourself. Mind your own limits and your body. Okay, so legs nice and open. Again, we're going to drive the hips forward. But when we do that, it's really easy to crunch into your lower back, which is super common for beginner back bends. So just mind that you are pulling these low abs into your spine. So like sucking that belly button in, right? And lifting up with those abdominals, right? So it looks like this. We pull up and we drive forward. Hips, hands are going to be on your hips. Hips are forward, right? Then from here, elbows squeeze back, and you do pretty much what you did in the previous exercise. You extend back with your upper back, locking the hips where they were, like this, and finding some space, and just breathing. Opening that rib cage, you can even touch it to find some space there. Pull that core in, and come up to the top. Really good. Take a little break. You're going to do it again 2 to 3 times, right? Legs open. Watch that this low core stays nice and pulled in and pulled up the whole time. It's very easy to forget about, and we're just going to get into the upper back once our hips are forward, right? So hips forward, core in, really, really pulling in as much as you can here. Then shoulders squeeze back, crack the chest open, get the neck to extend back, squeezing the back of your head to your butt, and breathing. Breathe, 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 breathe. Elbows in, and slowly coming out. Good. Again, you can repeat that as much as you want. To progress this exercise, you can use a band, a small one or a big one, a long one. And again, when you raise the band up, you make sure that it's nice and narrow and your arms are super narrow as well. Okay? So the progression is as follows. It can be quite heavy, just do the best you can. We want to see if we can find some more space in that upper back bend. Okay? So we're up. Legs are open. Exactly the same entry. We drive forward, we lift out of the abs. We want to lift out of the rib cage and open the chest. Shoulders back, elbows back, like so. Right? Breathe, keep those hips forward, 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 forward. Right, so you're here. Then you're going to pull the band apart and back to this position with the elbows back. From here, squeezing the head back, trying to find some space and breathing the whole time. Right? And then if you want to advance, you reach the arms back and you bend. And you reach back and you bend. And one more time, back and bend, and then slowly, 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 slowly coming out and relaxing after that. Well done. Good. Awesome. Do it again if you want to just get it a little bit deeper or find a bit more depth in that upper back. All right. Really good, guys. We're going to progress a little bit. If you need some water, grab some. Okay. So the next one is also quite tricky, but it's really good for your lats and your upper back. And then we'll move to standing to bridge, which is called a drop back. But first, grabbing a TheraBand, a nice long one, right? You're going to sit on your knees, like so, in a high kneeling position, with your legs together if you can. But if you find that really unstable, you can open the legs, it's perfectly fine. Again, there are a couple levels here. Again, what is really important is that your low core is pulled in the whole time, even when your hips are piked backwards, right? So, the band is going to be hooked under your ankles with equal length on either side, right? And then what I want you to do is make sure you tuck these low muscles in, so suck them into your spine before you lengthen the hips back behind you. So that core stays active. I'm not releasing into my tummy to crunch into my back. I'm pulling my abs in and I'm pushing those hips backwards. Then I'm going to rotate this band up with my elbows upwards, right? Squeezing those elbows in. I want to let the band pull my arms down, so getting into my lats and into my triceps. I'm not resisting by pulling forward here, right? So I've got that low core engaged. I'm letting the band pull into those triceps. My elbows are nice and narrow. Then I want to see if I can extend out my rib cage a little bit more and then dip my head back as best I can. I'm going to squeeze my neck back to try get deeper into it, keeping my hips back, like so. Letting my arms pull down to the floor, keeping my hips back, pulling my tummy in. Good. Breathe. Nice. Good. Hips back. Grow out of your rib cage. Elbows back, elbows in, and slowly coming out. As gracefully as possible. Good, nice. Okay, so that's the basic position for that exercise. To progress it, we do the following. You're going to extend your arms out while you are in the exercise and let the band pull your arms down to the floor. You can have a tiny bit of external rotation in your arms, but not a massive amount, so don't completely externally rotate, right? Just a little external rotation to help you. What you need to do in the exercise is make sure that you're chasing your upper back bend with your lats, so your arms squeeze back, then your neck squeezes back. Then your arms squeeze back, then your neck squeezes back. You'll see me do it in the next little part. You can watch and then do it yourself, or you can follow along, although it's really hard to watch and do it in your back bend if you don't know it. So maybe watch if you've never seen this before. Okay. So, kneeling, exactly the same entry. We are going to tuck those low core abs in, i.e. suck them in a little bit, right? Then hips go back, but I'm holding onto that low core engagement. Then I'm going to rotate these elbows up to the ceiling, keep them nice and narrow, keep that core pulled in, and let the band pull down with those hands, right? From here, I'm going to take my head back like we did before, and I'm going to let the band pull my upper body back and down to the floor. From here, I'm going to straighten, keeping my hips back, and I'm going to think of lifting out of my rib cage, right? I push. From here, straight arms. I take my neck back. I take my arms back. I take my neck back, and my arms back, and I hold my hips back, and I breathe. And then I can bend and sit, and I can straighten and push the hips back. And I can bend and sit, and straighten and squeeze the neck back. Good. And then coming out when you've done it enough. Obviously, doing it for as long as you want, as long as you can handle. Really good. It's quite a hard one. So if you're finding it quite hard or you are a beginner, it's very normal. Do the best that you can. Okay. It's also especially hard to breathe in, as most back bends are, because of the extension of your body. So I need you to also train your breathing. You need to make sure that you're taking shorter breaths, but more consistently. So don't hold your breaths in your back bend at all. Please, it's not going to help your body at all, even though it's often our first instinct to hold our breath when you go into a back bend. It's going to give you a headache. It's going to make your muscles weak. It's going to make it really, really hard for you to feel calm. And it's really important that you just keep your nervous system and your mind really calm by giving it consistent breath, all right, while you do your back bends. So we're going to move to our standing to bridge position. But yeah, we'll do that first, and then we'll go into our back bends. Super, super nice and simple, similar to our kneeling position, but we're going to do it standing and add an extra position to it, which you will have just worked. We're standing like so. For your standing to bridge, or your bridge, you can have your feet slightly turned out. You don't want to have them massively turned out. It just isn't aesthetically nice, and it's not really correct for your hips. You just have them a little turned out. Having them parallel is especially hard, and you're just making life too difficult for yourself when you could have them like this to assist your balance and the press through your hips. And your legs are wide, they're not nice, they're not too narrow, right? Two positions that are really important here are your C-curve position, which is this. So that's a nice C-curve in your spine. It involves your shoulders and your lats, and it involves your low core and obviously your upper back, right? That's your C-curve position, and then you're going to go into position 2, which is driving your hips forward, but holding onto that upper back engagement that we gained in the first position. Okay, so The key to making sure that you are nice and supported and don't go into that lower back is to make sure, again, that your low core muscles are in use the whole time. It's very easy to forget about them and then just to jam into that lower back, which is not a sensation that we want to be working with. It's not sustainable and it's just not good for your spine, right? So watch this next exercise. You want to keep the shoulders up to the ceiling and squeeze those arms back. Hips are back, feet are turned out. My lower tummy is pulling up into my spine, right? I'm going to squeeze my neck back, all right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive my hips forward over my feet while holding onto my lower tummy. I'm pulling it in. So my head squeezes back, my hips drive forward, right? As far as I can go. If I am advanced enough, I can bend and I can go all the way down. I'm holding onto that low tummy over here, right? Obviously, only if I'm advanced enough do I go onto my fingers, drive the hips forward into the glutes, and I lift up, straightening the legs, and come up to the top. That's the full exercise. It's very advanced. You don't have to do that whole thing, right? So you can just work at whichever level you're at, which might look something like this, going from here, head back, tummy in, going forward with the hips, glutes, 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 and then coming up. Maybe it'll be a bit smaller than that. Maybe it'll be this, going forward and coming up. Okay, guys, so choose your option. Do it as many times as you can. Build that up as you go along with these classes. So if you're doing 3 today, do 3 for a week, and then next week do 4 of them, and then the following week do 6 of them, etc., etc., etc. And just make sure that you're building your endurance and your depth as you do this. What is also an option is doing these standing to bridge exercises with a wall behind you. However, I want you to be very careful about using the wall to go down, because what happens is your muscles don't support you correctly if you place all of your weight into your hands on the wall as you go down into the exercise, which means that the exercise becomes a lot more passive and ultimately less helpful than it will be if you do just as far as you can control and up again as many times as possible, right? So the wall can be there for psychological support, but don't use it too much. And if you are using it with your hands, only place your fingertips on the wall so that you are using your glutes and all of your back muscles to help you stay in control. All right, so next one we're going to do is literally just a nice basic bridge. I'm going to show you several transitions to get into it. There's the classic press up, and then there's rotation and reach over. You're going to work whichever one feels good to you, or you're going to try and advance to using a different one. Right, so the first one, which I personally think is the most tiring, is just the pressing up into bridge with your hands overhead. This is really, really hard if you don't use your glutes. So you need to be using them to get those hips up, to help your arms alleviate some of the weight. So your hands are back, you're going to drive your weight into your knees and your legs and your glutes, and then you're going to press with the arms. So you press forward, abs are in, and push into bridge here, right? And then you can come down. The next transition is a rotation round. For this one, we place one hand back, fingertips facing the corner, and you're going to take your other hand and sweep it across your face while driving your glutes and your hips up to the ceiling and opening your chest. So it looks like this. Hips go up, reach across your face, hips, 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 and then place one hand down, and then place the other hand down in the correct position. Then rotating that wrist again, pushing into that hand, keeping it straight, and coming out in the reverse fashion. And try that on both sides, because it's likely that you have one side that will prefer that, probably your strong arm, than the other side. Okay, and then the last one is this one, having one hand back ready for you and reaching one arm up and over, again driving your hips up and opening your back with your chest. We reach up, hips, chest, place the hand, put weight into that hand, keep the glutes active, place the other hand down, and then spend some time in your bridge here. Right? Whichever one you choose is perfectly fine. I would recommend that you do try build up to being able to use all of them. Okay, last thing, doing a nice, beautiful bridge. There are so many variations of these, but your basic bridge should be as follows, and you can work it as follows. Choosing whichever transition you want to get into it, you're going to go in and you're going to check the following.
You're going to be pushing out of your arms. Your arms are nice and narrow, shoulder distance apart. You want to make sure that these low core muscles are pulled into your spine, and really importantly, that your glutes are driving up as much as possible. And you're pushing away with those arms. Right? Here you can squeeze the glutes up 10 times. You can narrow your bridge as much as you can, or if you want, you can straighten through the legs and push into a straight leg position for your bridge. Holding whichever position you choose for 10 to 20 seconds based on your capability. Bridges are really, really tough on the wrists as well, so if you need to in between, do make sure that you are rolling them out. All right, guys, you can repeat those as many times as you want. If you're feeling nice and warm, please do so. And after this class, I really recommend that you do 30 to 60 reps of abs so that your back can reset and the front of your body can support your recovery process. It's really important. Enjoy these classes. Join some of my other ones. We have a split class and another back bend class, and have the best day. Well done.